Hi, and welcome to Alef Bet for Siddur Hebrew. Today we're working on the letter Bet, and Bet is for Bracha. Bracha means blessing. Now, I'd like you to notice that the word Bracha here, Bet, Resh, Kaf, has this root, this three-letter root, Bet Resh Kaf, that is also here. Bet Resh. This is a Chaf Sofit, which is just a Chaf that is at the end of a word. Uh, and this word, Baruch, means blessed. Another word that starts with Bet is the prefix, the one-letter prefix. I like to call it a short word, B, which usually means in, but sometimes in context, when we're translating, we might interpret it as with. There's some other ways that we might interpret it, but generally it means in. Next, we have the word bara. Bara means created. It's the masculine past tense, or if we're talking about biblical Hebrew, it's in the perfect form, which means that the action is completed. Basar means flesh or meat or sometimes body. Barata. Barata means you created. And again, this one is masculine, but it's specifically you created. This ta ending is you did it. And the root is the same. See, Beit Resh Aleph, Beit Resh Aleph. That is the root of the word. House is Bait. Now, I like to point out that the letter Bet is a bite. It's a house. You can see the roof of the house here and the wall of the house here. And there's a floor inside the house. And then there's like a little porch on the outside of the house. So bet is a bite. A bite is a house. Now, if you want to say the house of, we use something called the construct form. So we just change the vowels. We put a tsere. A tsere can say eh or a. And here, because of this yud, it's going to say a. So it says bait. Bait is house of. Like Beit Israel is the house of Israel. Bikurim. Bikurim are first fruits, as in the first fruits that are brought to the temple as a sacrifice. Bain. Bain means between. And we're going to see in action how this word gets used. Often it will sort of be doubled up to say between this and between that. Barchi. This is the word bless again, this time in the feminine imperative. And you'll notice we've got that root again, beit, resh, kaf. Now, notice I say kaf, even though this is a chaf. Kaf and chaf are the same letter. They're just with or without the dagesh, the dot in the middle. But bet and vet are really the same functional letter. They're just pronounced differently, as you're going to see as we move forward. Bet has the dot in the middle. Vet does not have the dot in the middle. But when you don't have nikud, when you don't have vowel symbols, there's literally no difference when you look at the letter. And the letter functions the same. It just changes its pronunciation. So barchi, Bet Resh Kaf becomes Bet Resh Chaf Yud Barchi. You, feminine person, bless. Boi. Boi is another feminine imperative word. The root here is, I believe it's Beit Aleph Aleph, or maybe Beit Vav Aleph. It's Beit Vav Aleph. Now I remember. Beit Vav Aleph. So there are some letters that do weird things when they're in the root of a word and they sort of disappear. So the present tense of come, like he comes, is just Beit Aleph, Ba. But this word, Boi, is the feminine imperative. You, lady person, come. Here's a word, Bina. So most of the time people think of the word wisdom being chokhmah, but there's another word for wisdom, which is Bina. And one way to think about it, and this is not exclusive, but some people think about chokhmah as like book learning and bina as more like in, internal wisdom. Uh, so bina, ben is a son, but bene is the plural uh, construct form. Bene, children of, plural construct form, children of. So like Bnei Yisrael, just like we had Bait and Beit Yisrael being the house of Israel. We've got Ben, which is son. Banim would be plural sons, but Bnei Yisrael is the children of Israel. Bli, without. Bahar, chose. This is again the masculine past tense form, or in biblical Hebrew, we would say it's the masculine imperative form, third person, not imperative, I'm sorry, perfect form, the masculine third person perfect. And these three letters are also the root of the word Bahar. So let's see these words in action. The first prayer of the morning says, I give thanks before you, living King, that you returned my soul in me with mercy or with compassion. Great is your faithfulness. Modeh ani lefanecha, melech chai vekayam, shehechezarta bi. That's be, in me. The E part here is the me. So be, nishmati, B in chemla, in compassion or in mercy. Rabba emunatecha, much is your faithfulness. Now, here we have the blessing before putting on talit. Baruch atah Hashem, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit. So Baruch is blessed, Be is in your mitzvot, or actually this says in his mitzvot, in his commandments. Lehitatef means to wrap oneself, b'tzitzit, in the tzitzit. Now, this is the start of a prayer called Asher Yatzar, which is thanking God for a working body. We say this blessing in the morning, and we also say this after using the toilet. Baruch atah Hashem Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yatzar et ha'adam bechokma, in wisdom, uvara vo, and created vo, in it, nekavim, nekavim, chalulim, chalulim. I like to say holes and holes, tubes and tubes. Nekavim is like indentations, and chalulim are hollows. So this Baruch is blessed, this B is in, Vara is created, Vo is in him or in it. Now, here's the end of that prayer. We call the ending of a prayer that starts with Baruch, like that's that last line of the prayer. We call that a chatima, which literally means a signature or a seal. So that last line of that prayer says, Baruch atah Hashem, rofe kol basar umafli le'asot. Baruch means blessed are you, Hashem, the healer or the doctor of all flesh, basar, flesh, u, and mafli le'asot. So mafli is like a wonder, or wonders. Le'asot, to do. So who does wonders, wonderful things, miraculous things. One of my very favorite prayers is Elohai Neshama. It's a blessing thanking God for our neshama, our soul. We have different soul parts in Jewish thought, and one of them is the neshama, which is the very breath of God inside of us. And it's said that this is pure. There's nothing you can do that can sully your neshama. It is always pure. Now, you also have a ruach, which is like your passions, the things you care about, the things that push you forward. Ruach is also the word for wind, so I like to think of it as like the the fiery, push forward, energetic side of your soul. And then there's also the nefesh, which in modern Hebrew, briut nafshi means like mental health or emotional health. And I think of that as sort of like the emotional side. Well, we know in life, our emotional self can be damaged through trauma, and the parts of our soul that are all about what we love and what we care about and what we're passionate about, those can also be damaged by the things that we choose to do and the things we chase after. But the neshama, that pure breath of God, there's nothing that can damage that. This is always pure. And so this prayer says, Elohai neshama shenatata be inside of me. Tehora he. She is pure. Tehora. Tehora means pure. Ata varata. You created it. Ata yetzarta. You formed it. Ata nefachta bi. You breathed it into me. In the morning's preparatory prayers, we also have a long blessing for Torah study to cover any sort of incidental Torah learning we might do throughout the day. And this is the second line of that prayer. It goes, V'ha'arev na Hashem Eloheinu et divrei Toratecha befinu ubefi amecha Beit Yisrael. So it says, I'm going to read it word by word. There's a smoother translation down below, but I'm going to read it word by word. And sweeten, please, Adonai, our God, the words of your Torah inside of us and inside your people, the house of Israel. And this is the blessing before reading the Torah. In some traditions, this comes at the end of that series of blessings for Torah study at the beginning of the day. In other traditions, it doesn't show up there, but it is part of the blessing when you go up for an aliyah at the Torah reading in synagogue service. Baruch atah Hashem Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Hashem noten haTorah. So again, I'm going to translate this word by word. There's a smoother translation down below. This first word is blessed, you. This is Hashem is standing in for the name of God. Eloheinu, our God. King, Ha'olam, the universe. Asher, that. Bachar, chose. Banu, literally in us. Mikol, from all. Ha'amim, the peoples. Ve Natan, and gave. Lanu, to us. et Torato, his Torah. Blessed you, Hashem, Noten, giver of the Torah. So after we say the Torah blessing in the morning, we study a little piece of Torah along with a little piece of the Talmud. And one of the most common texts found in Siddurim for this particular piece of study starts out, Elu dvarim she'ein lahem shi'ur, hapea vehabikurim veharayon ugmilut chasadim v'talmud Torah. So Elu means these. Dvarim can be things or words. She'ein, that there is no, lahem, to them, shi'ur. So shi'ur can be a lesson, but it can also be a measure. Hapea, literally the corner, which is referring to the corners of the field that are left for the poor. Vehabikurim. So if you're wondering why I didn't highlight ve and ha, ve means and ha means the. Bikurim is the first fruits. So the first fruits here is the offering that is brought to the temple of the first fruits of every harvest. Ve harayon, and the offering at the pilgrimage festivals. U, this is also and, gmilut chasadim, acts of loving kindness, acts of chesed. Ve, and Talmud, study of Torah. In the blessings for daily miracles, we thank God for the mind, or possibly the rooster, knowing the difference between day and night. So what do I mean by that? So this word right here, sechvi. Sechvi can be a rooster, but it also can be the mind. Now, I personally think that this prayer is very funny because I have lived in places with roosters, and roosters will crow at any time of day or night. I don't think that they know the difference between day or night at all. So I personally like to think of this as being a blessing about how the roosters know the difference between day or night, because it feels ironic to me, and that amuses me. But other people say that no, it's really supposed to mean the mind. Baruch Ata Hashem Eloheinu Melech Haolam Hanoten Lasechvi Vina Lehavchin Ben Yom U Vein Laila. Blessed are you, Hashem, our God, King of the universe, that the giver to the Sechvi, rooster or mind, Vina, wisdom. So notice here, remember what I was saying about bet and vet being the same thing. In this particular situation, the bet turned into a vet, and it says vina, but it's still the same word. Doesn't matter if it's vina, same word. Vina, the wisdom. Lehavchin, to distinguish. Bain, between. Yom, u, and. Vein, between. Laila, night. And again, you see here it's bain with a dagesh in the middle, so it's a bet sound. Here it's vein with no dagesh, so it's a vet sound. You don't need to worry right now about what the rules are for that. Just become familiar with the fact that it happens. You can learn about those grammar rules later. But bane and vein are the same word. All right, so a lot of people know the prayer Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, right? So there is a line right before the start of the Mi chamocha that says, Moshe uvenei Yisrael lecha anu shira v'simcha rabba ve'amru kulam. Moses and the children of Israel to you answered song in happiness a lot and said everyone. You can read the smoother translation down below. And on Friday nights, we sing Lecha Dodi, which is a poem that invites in the Sabbath bride into our space and into our lives. And here we have the word Bo'i. You, female being, the Shabbat bride, come in peace, come in happiness and in jubilation. Come. Boi b'shalom. Sorry, I said that wrong. Boi v'shalom, because there's no dagesh there. Boi v'shalom, ateret ba'ala, gam besimcha, u v'tzohola, toch emune am segula, boi kala, boi kala. And we looked at Adon Olam last week, so let's look at it again. There is a line in Adon Olam that says, Beli reshit, beli tachlit, velo ha'oz v'hamisra. So Bli means without, beginning, without, ending, and to him is the power and the dominion. So that's it for today. Lehitraot. Thank you so much for studying with me.